This is my do-it-yourself homemade handheld analog camera. It cost less than €40 to build, and this is what I shot with it. The Kayoumini adventure got me to play around with analog video editing a bit and to get my hands on a particular component that became the key of this project, a DVR board. These things are stupid simple but so awesome. It takes an analog signal from a camera and records it. You just need to feed power to everything and it's as simple as it gets. Originally they're meant to be mounted inside of a quad as to record the raw camera feed without OSD and without any glitches because it's directly inside of it. But as I had a bunch of analog cameras laying around, I thought about this. Why not making it a small portable action cam for handheld shots? So this is what I did. You will need a 3D printer for this project and all of the files are available on my printables page for free. For the camera I went for the KDX Rattle 2 because it's got amazing picture quality and it's literally the most used analog camera out there. It's super easy to get on AliExpress for like 25 bucks and it works with the same voltage range than the DVR, as you'll see later. The DVR board is from Kuai. I've tried as well the Runcam one, but this one got a higher bitrate and most importantly files don't get corrupted when you unplug mid recording, which is a game changer to me. I designed the shell around these components on Fusion 360 that matches the exact dimensions of a GoPro session. These two components fit exactly under this form factor and it just looks cooler than if I made like a stupid simple cube. The DVR and camera takes from 2S to 6S voltage, and to power it I'm gonna be using my Kayoumini batteries because it's a lot more convenient and compact than a 6S pack from my 5-inch quads. Mines are swapped to a BT 3.0 because I don't like the balance leads, but the printables files includes model for both BT 3.0 and XT30, so you can pick whatever suits you best. And now I'm gonna show you how to do it. Okay, so what you will need to assemble the camera is the DVR, the camera, the BT 3.0, the main shell, I printed it in PETG, and the back cover, and also glue and screws. Okay, so first thing first, you'll take the main shell and you're gonna slide the camera in. Make sure that this is the top where the button is on the GoPro session, and the top of the camera is where the connector is, as usual. Now as you can see, it's sitting flush here. I'm gonna secure it with screws on the sides over there. It's two M2 screws. That's one. And that's two. Now I did it before already because this specific DVR was mounted on the DJI Action 2 analog that you've seen before. There is a connector on this PCB that sits right there and that you will need to rip off. We won't use it anyway because there is directly solder pins here that we will solder our camera and our power supply to. So you can safely rip this off, just grab it with pliers, rip it off, and that's it. You won't be able to close the box properly if you don't rip it off because we want this to be as low profile as possible. So yeah, there's many ways to solder it. You can either solder directly the power supply from your camera, so these two cables directly on the DVR board, on which you will solder your BT 3.0 cables. In my case, I soldered two leads on the BT 3.0, so on the plus and on the minus. I'm just gonna connect one of them to the camera and one of them to the DVR, and that's it. So this one was already connected from the previous camera. I'll just cut it shorter because my camera leads are huge. I'm gonna shorten these as well. I am going to tin everything up. There we go. Now I'm gonna directly solder the cables to the DVR. So you want your SD slot on the bottom like this. I'm gonna need to have my cables coming either here on the top, either here over there. I think I'll go from the top. It sounds like the most convenient way to do it. So same thing, I'm gonna tin them up. Video is your signal cable, the yellow one. A VCC is your RAID cable, that's your power supply. And the ground is your black cable, as usual. So yeah, as you can see overall, it's a very straightforward wiring. You share the power supply from the BT 3.0 onto the DVR and on the camera, and then the signal from the camera goes to the DVR, and that's literally it. Now what I'm gonna do is glue the BT 3.0 on the bottom for it to pop here out there. The big downside of this design is that when you do so, obviously I'm gonna have to glue it, otherwise if I plug a battery over there on the bottom, it's gonna pop out. And the problem is that once you glue it, you cannot remove the rattle 2 anymore. You know, it's locked in place by these little pins on the bottom. That's not very convenient, but that's the only way to make all of this fit in the Session 5 form factor. I'm gonna put a tiny dab of glue just so that I can always grab pliers and pop it off if needed. And same for the XT30. Unfortunately, there is no panel mounting option for these tiny connectors, so glue is the only way. It looks pretty clean in the end. I'll just put a dab on the bottom directly, and then I'll just slide the connector in. There we go. Okay, so now that the glue cured, what we can do is format the SD card. I have here a 32 gigabyte. It's a U3, but you don't need something nearly as fast. It's low bitrate analog DVR. I think it's like 10 megabits per second or 20 megabits per second. So you do not need something as fast as a GoPro SD card. You will not need to have access to the button that's here later in the process, but you need to use it when you format the SD card. So it's gonna be in the case later, but you'll never have to touch it other than for this procedure. I'm gonna put the card in, plug my battery in the BT 3.0, 2S battery from the Kayoumini. These LEDs are gonna turn on. I already formatted this card, so it's gonna start recording straight up. The blue LED lights like this every second or so when it's recording, but I'm still gonna show you how to format it. So just plug it, hold the button. I think it's like some 5 seconds or whatever, but just keep holding it. It's gonna do this blinking code. Now it's formatting it, and then it's gonna start recording straight up. There you go. Now it's just recording. So that's it. Formatted and recording. And now every time that you're gonna plug your battery, it's gonna start recording immediately. So you'll never have to press the button. Just plug when you want to shoot and plug when you're done, and that's it. Plug and play. Now that this is done, I can remove the SD card because it won't fit with it inside. Put your DVR here. I'm just gonna make sure that the cables are flat on top because it's kind of tight. There we go. And now we can screw it in. So remember that this screw, the bottom right, goes through the top cover as well. To hold the DVR board, I'm gonna use some cylinder head screw because there is some super sensible components right next to the holes, like small capacitors and LEDs and some stuff that you don't want to short out. And by using this screw, you're making sure that there is a minimal amount of contact on the PCB and surface touched. It's M3, so I'm using a 2mm screwdriver, and you can screw straight up into the plastic. I've made the hole kind of tight. On the previous versions, I've been using some brass inserts, as you can see there, but you need to source separate hardware, and since I basically never have to disassemble it, I don't care about screwing directly on the plastic, and it's holding super well. The length doesn't matter because the holes go super far in the plastic, so just screw it with whatever you have under your hands and it's gonna do it. Don't over tighten it, of course. That's one, that's two. And this is it. There's a hole in the top cover that exposes the microphone and the LEDs. So if something is off with your battery or if your connector got unplugged for some reason, you can still see the stages there, and it's always a good peace of mind to triple check that it's actually recording. So you have a feedback through this and the microphone so that if you speak, you can actually hear yourself well instead of having it enclosed in the plastic. And then for the top cover, 3 countersunk M3 as well, and straight in the plastic. They bolt right through. Now this one is too short. Oh yeah, of course it's too short, but it's so long. These on top go all the way to the camera, so it does need to be really long, but this one can be relatively short. So I'm gonna use some 20mm stack screws. This should be long enough. It's perfect. That's great. Don't over tighten it because otherwise you're gonna kill the thread. Remember that we are screwing in plastic. It's still okay to disassemble it a few times, but I wouldn't play around too much. But again, once it's all screwed in like this, you'll never have to ever disassemble it. And even if you do, it's plastic, you can always reprint it. It's like 20 grams of plastic in total. There we go. Look how clean that is, man. That's perfect. Countersunk on the top. It's beautiful. Let me put a real GoPro Session next to it. How cool is that? That's so nice. And so if I plug my battery straight at the bottom right there, boom, LED is on. When the blue turns on, it starts recording. It should happen pretty fast. There you go, within like 2 to 3 seconds. And now it's recording. So you can see yourself, guys. What's up, gang? That's so cool. I'm gonna switch to the audio from the microphone right now. This is how it sounds like, directly from the DVR. And I think it's surprisingly good, if you ask me. For a freaking 25 bucks analog video board, it's like really audible. That's so cool. There you go, guys. And then you can unplug straight up. Boom. Done.